Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. This is the show that helps you become your best self, and today we're talking about how to achieve your dreams in this new year, guide to creating New Year's goals. But before we jump into that, as always, I want to invite you to come say hi to me on social media. I am at Sabrina Joy Perozzo on both Instagram and TikTok, so please come say hi and let's become friends online. I do want to invite you to look down into the show notes as well, where you can sign up for the weekly newsletter because we are back, baby. We are back. And I am back into sending a new newsletter every single week. I'm trying to make the newsletter better, even in the one that went out like this week. There was new content there. So check that out. Sign up down there in the show notes. Also, while you're down there, there's a place for you to anonymously submit topic suggestions for the podcast, as well as to anonymously vent. If you don't have anyone that's like emotionally available in your life to vent to, you can leave that down there. And I just go look at them like every once in a while, and I pray over them. And again, I won't know that it's you, so check that out. And the last thing I want to mention every single time is that you can still purchase the planner journal hybrid I created called Emotions Every Day. So take a look at all that stuff down in the show notes below. But let's go ahead and jump into today's topic, which again is how to achieve your dreams, guide to creating New Year's goals. So, I enjoy goal setting. Like I do. I enjoy, I know that sounds so nerdy. Oh my gosh. Yes, I enjoy goal setting and thinking ahead on how to achieve dreams and ambitions. But a lot of the time I will take on way too much. And I feel like that's a theme in my life that I am working on. And I even today, since I record podcast episodes the night before it goes live, I have therapy every single week, unless I'm out of town or on vacation or something, with my therapist on Thursdays. And even today, I was admitting to him, I was like, yeah, I took on way too much this season. And I thought I was going to actually be reasonable with myself and manage my expectations, but I did not. I did not. And so that's actually a thing that I'm going to be posting and some content coming up this weekend about just admitting hey, I thought I could do it all, but I couldn't. And I should have been more honest with myself. And I even realized that in creating goals and thinking ahead, a lot of times in the past, I would just take on way too much and not be as organized as I could about it. And really just throwing goals out there every which way, writing them like a whole list, making sure the whole front piece of paper is filled up or typing one or whatever it is. Because also when we create goals, and this might sting a little bit for some people, but I'm being honest and vulnerable about me, is that when we create goals, sometimes we just create this whole list of goals to be able to show to other people and be able to show off and be like, oh, look at me, I'm achieving 25 goals. What do you got, right? You're just really trying to one up them with all the goals that say you're going to go after. And maybe you hit half of them if you actually put all your time and energy to them. Maybe you hit them all. I'm not saying that we're all not hitting our goals, but I don't feel like a lot of times when we create goals or go into that mindset, New Year's resolutions, intentions, whatever, that we're doing it from the best of intentions or best thought of how that's actually going to benefit us. And so I wish that in the past I was more organized. That would be absolutely fantastic. I also, didn't do the work of considering how I want to feel at the end of the year if I have actually achieved my goals. And often I won't even truly let's be honest here. Let's just break it down. I wouldn't even truly believe I would achieve my goals, right? But really just hang on to hope and fake believe. I'm telling you, fake believe that it all would just come together. Like some magic, pixie dust was just going to bam, hit me in the face. All my goals were just going to start happening. And then it was going to be great. And then I could tell everyone, hey guys, I accomplished all my goals. And it's actually really interesting for me to reflect back on that. And of course, I'm going to be honest with you and vulnerable about my experience because, that is my number one here. I'm not going to lie to you. And, it's humbling to admit that, yeah, a lot of times I was just not doing it the best way I could and not doing it for the right reasons and not truly believing that I actually could achieve these goals despite creating goals. You know what I mean? It just seems kind of weird. Just even say it out loud. But, nothing really comes together if you don't have a good plan with multiple steps and ways to ramp up the progress and reflect on milestones achieved, right? You have to have the plan and actually have a true plan, like writing your goal down, like, hey, I'm going to, run a marathon this year. That's not a plan. That's a goal. And it's a pretty little phrase, sentence written on a list, tacked up on a cork board or written on a dry erase board or posted on social media. It's great. It's beautiful. It's people are like, oh, wow, you're going to achieve such amazing things. But if you don't make an actual plan to do it, then it's not going to happen. It's just not. It's just the same as nothing will change if you don't change. Don't actually make that change. If you say you're going to start a business next year, but don't have the intention and action to create an actual business plan and research startup costs and have checkpoints to hit and, even have a mentor and someone to look up to and evaluate whether you actually have the time and energy to do that along with everything else that you're doing in your life, you're not going to start a business. You're just not. And I tell you that from experience where I've wanted and desired to do something, but I don't do it. There's no action in that. Desiring and wanting to do something is not the same of actually doing it. Actually getting your hands dirty, as they say, and putting in the work and time and actually putting action behind your words. I could, want to make $1 million all day long. But if I don't actually put any action towards doing that, it's not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. And, you might actually waste a lot of time and energy with nothing to show for it if you don't create an actual plan for these goals, intentions, and resolutions that you want to have and that you write down on a piece of paper or in the notes app on your phone. I'm just saying, let's just be honest because there's no reason to beat around the bush or lie to ourselves. We should be honest with ourselves. We can't be honest with anyone else. We should be honest with ourselves. Let's work on that. Okay, we'll talk about that in another episode. But, talking about goals and especially New Year's resolutions, and I know this is probably very classic. Yeah, this is what everyone's talking about right now. And it's a trend, I guess you could say, but it's important. I find it's important. And I know that some people don't believe in New Year's resolutions and setting goals at the top of the year because of, fake statistics that say people give up on the first month or so, or just even the first couple days, and just don't think that they're actually helpful and practical. And then the whole mindset of you can start anytime. You don't have to wait to the first. And I believe that. You could start on June 16th and just and achieve your goals by the end of the year, depending on what your goal is. That's all. That is true. I fully believe in that. You don't have to wait for the first. And the date doesn't need to dictate you starting your goal. Or maybe your reasons for not believing in New Year's resolutions are different, and that's fine. Maybe it's not anything I just named, but either way, and either whatever reason or mindset you have about them, I encourage you to consider thinking about goal setting in a different way. That's another reason why I wanted to bring this topic up, because I know that everyone's going to probably be out there okay, this is how you create a goal. This is what you should do, this, that, and the other. And honestly, I do. And, seasons past of the show have talked about goals. And if you want a very clean cut way of creating goals, a formula for SMART goals, which SMART is an acronym for creating goals, I do. I have episodes all on that. I have 5 episodes that go over every single part of that acronym on how to create goals. So you're able to just pop back in the archives of the podcast and listen to that if you'd rather listen to a very, clear-cut formula of creating goals. But today, for this one, I want to help people shift their mindset into being more accepting of the practice of creating resolutions and goals, specifically at the top of the year. Because again, I do agree. You could start in the middle of June, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what day that you start. It just matters that you actually start and you keep going. You commit to the bit, right? But it's important that if you do want to start at the top of the year, or if you have yet to see a reason why, hopefully I can help you shift your mindset just a little bit, right? So think about it more in a way to keep yourself accountable to actually starting your goal, right? Starting at the top of the year, keeping yourself accountable to actually starting the goal, especially if you're one of those people that say you're going to do something, but you never do. And often I was that person where I would hope and wish and dream and desire to do all of these things, and I would not do them. And I would think, oh yeah, the sorry, I'm laughing at myself right now, like about what I'm about to say, but it's just like, I would think like, oh my gosh, the dream and desire is alive in my heart. And, that's going to carry me the whole way. And no, action, girl, action's going to carry you the whole way, motivation, discipline, the ability to flex when things get rough and tough. That is what's going to carry you through. And so think about it as like keeping yourself accountable to starting the goal and allowing the newness of the year to breathe fresh life and hope into you, like into your mind, into your body, into your mind, like into your beliefs, into everything, right? While simultaneously allowing the past year to become less of a burden and worry for you. It's kind of like you're just like water off the duck's back. You're just like allowing it to just like float away and not necessarily ignore it, especially if there's problems and things that need to be solved, but allowing it to just like float away, no longer be a burden, no longer bother you, no longer try to hold you captive and not allow you to actually do the things you need to do. So it doesn't have to be this like super cheesy, trendy thing of like, okay, let me just make like a list of 10 things that I'm going to change about myself, because maybe even for your resolutions or your goals, you don't need to change, right? You don't I think that change is amazing and it's scary at the same time, but maybe you're like, well, nothing really needs to change in a dramatic way this year. Maybe you need to go full in on the things that you're already doing. You know what I mean? And so, for me, it's like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to change from creating content online. I think I'm just going to go more full into creating more content and trying to deepen that content in a better way. And a perfect example of this for me is that if you were, which a lot of people do, and I don't always do this when I listen to podcasts, which is interesting, but when you listen to a podcast for the first time, a lot of times people will listen to the very first episode. And if you were to listen to the very first episode or the very first 10, 25 episodes compared to the episodes that come out these days, they are very different. The length of the show, that episode, is drastically different. The amount of information that you can find in the show notes is different. And I believe that the type of information and the way that the show flows and provides information is different as well. Maybe even the way that I speak to you is different. I myself have not gone back and listened to a lot of my older episodes. I feel like it's that kind of thing where, it's hard to watch yourself back. But I know that it's very different, because even I've actually gone back and compared, looked at notes for shows that I've done in the past, because I will know that I've already done an episode on something, but then I'm like, well, should I do it again? Because it could be more robust the second time. You know what I mean? Add more information, more research, more detail, all of these things. So anyway, what were we talking about? No, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Don't worry, you guys. I actually record the show with notes so I can stay on track and come back from the journey of the tangents. But yeah, so let's go back to what we were actually talking about, is allowing the newness of the year to breathe fresh life and hope into us, while allowing the past year to become less of a burden for us, and understanding that, life can change. We don't have to change. See, that's where it is. We're coming back with the circle of where I fell into the rabbit hole of the tangent of me saying that, hey, when you consider the intentions and the goals and the resolutions you create, it doesn't have to be you have to change everything about yourself. You're just going deeper into those things that you're already doing. You're making a deeper commitment, and that's amazing. And that's what we can be doing. And that can be super beneficial. Because I feel like a lot of times, as you see, especially here in America, if you're listening somewhere else, I understand. But here in America, a lot of times for New Year's, it's all about like weight loss. It's all about like no longer eating sugar and carbs and really anything and just drinking greens powder and eating vegetables and salads and forcing yourself to work out 10 times more than you actually have been working out and not actually slowly working up to a, longer and more consistent workout schedule, not actually like trying to ease yourself in. It's tough. And I feel like that can like turn a lot of people off, right? Or it talks about what you need to give up, right? Or these 10 things that you need to add to your plate when you already feel overwhelmed with all your responsibilities already. And I don't want you to think about creating goals and intentions and resolutions like that. No, I want you to think about it again as like keeping yourself accountable to actually start that goal that you've been quote unquote intending to start, and allowing the feeling of the new year that I feel like a majority of us feel, just like new life is blossoming and you can do anything if you put your mind to it, and like, really absorbing those feelings. So, and I feel like the best part about this is like, let's not forget allowing the past year to become less of a burden and worry to you. You learned a lot during those hard times, those problems, those issues, everything that you went through. You learned so much, but you don't have to continue to focus and obsess on any mistakes or failures that you went through, even though, as you know, if you're not new here, mistakes and failures are the best learning lessons. They are the best. But a lot of times we can just harp on those bad things and how we feel shame and guilt for it and how it sucked. We're mad about it and it sucked. When we don't have to allow ourselves to obsess over those things and take up so much space in our mind and hold us hostage. We can grow and learn from those things and move on. So in today's episode, we are going to talk about how to create our goals. And in the next episode, which will come out in just a couple of days, because as you know, it comes out Fridays and Mondays. And so that episode will be how to actually work on these goals and better plan your life over the next year. So it'll be like implementing the plans that you created, like having like a real plan for your goal, and then how you can continue to go after your goal despite other things that are happening in your life. Does that make sense? And being able to kind of plan your year to achieve those goals and to enjoy your life and to become your best self every single day, which is why we are here. So here are 5 tips on how to create goals and resolutions for New Year's that are worth creating and not just like, I'm going to climb Mount Everest and then you don't do it. You just watch the video on how to do it. Sorry, that like harkens back to a Friends episode. If you know, you know. Okay, 5 tips. Let's go. Let's jump in. We're already like 18 minutes in, guys. Let's focus up. Okay, I'm talking to myself, not you, obviously. Okay, number 1. Oh, wait. How did I almost forget? This is the last episode of the season of the year, and I am already over here forgetting what we have to do every single time. So I'm about to give you tips that are based on my own research, experience, and the experiences of others. If you feel like what I'm about to tell you or what I will tell you does not align with how you would like to go about creating goals and resolutions for New Year's that's actually worth it and helpful to you, I encourage you to seek out a therapist and a counselor for that one-on-one opportunity to figure out what would align with you better and help you to create your goals. You don't want to do that? You could always hop over to our best friend Google and type in how to create goals, how to create New Year's resolutions. And there is a I don't even know, like a overwhelming amount of information on the interwebs to tell you how to do that if you feel like that would be a better fit for you. So check those out, but this is all based on my own research and knowledge and what I have to give to you today. Okay, number one, don't feel forced to start on day 1. Don't feel forced to start on day one. We are a couple days away from that, my friends, but don't feel forced to start on that day. Sunday, maybe Sundays are your lazy days. At least if you're listening to this like later, obviously that won't be the same day, but going into 2023, first day is a Sunday. Maybe Sundays you don't do anything. Maybe that's part of like your religion, your culture, your mindset, whatever's. That's cool. Don't feel forced to start on day one. And I know what I said. I know what I said. I wrote that in my notes. I know I said that having a resolution at the top of the year will help you be accountable to yourself. That is still true. Nothing has changed here. But I want you to know that this can still happen if you start on day 5 or at the beginning of the second week. So it doesn't really matter, and it's not super uber critical that you start on a very specific day. I don't want you to believe that just because you didn't start on the first means that you can't follow through with your goals for that year. Like, that's just garbage. It's hot garbage. Hot garbage. And it's because you don't want to rush into anything. You don't want to rush into anything you're not fully prepared for. If you're telling me that, hey, I want to start training for a marathon, but you couldn't get to the running store to get fitted for proper running shoes, and so that's not going to happen until Tuesday because New Year's is observed on the Monday, then that's fine. You don't have to scrap that goal and be like, well, since I didn't get those shoes in time, it's not going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just start on the Tuesday or the Wednesday, whatever it is. Like, start when you can start. Right? I would say try to start sooner than later, but you don't have to start on day one, right? I don't even like starting on day one anymore. I like to sit back and just relax and, see how everyone else feels about starting their goals. And usually by the top of the second week of January, that's when I'm really like full on starting my goals. Or maybe I'll start it on the 3rd or the 4th. It just depends on what's happening. Plus, with the job that I have, typically we are gone doing like work stuff at that first week of January because it's a big show that we have to attend. So I really can't fully start my goals until the top of that second week. And it kind of gives you an opportunity to fill out the new year and make sure that you have everything you need to start that goal, right? And maybe you need to talk to some people, maybe you didn't do enough research when you wanted to jump in. That's totally fine. Do not feel forced to start on day one, no matter what anyone says. You're not behind. If you start on day 2 or 12, whatever, just get started so that you can have that accountability with yourself. But again, just because you didn't start on day 1 or even 2 does not mean that you're behind or that you're not going to accomplish your goals or that you're not as strong or capable or focused or whatever or disciplined. It just means that you know what is best for you to achieve your goals. So don't feel forced to start on day 1. Number 2, ask yourself how you want to feel after you accomplish this goal. Ask yourself how you want to feel after you accomplish this goal. I briefly mentioned this when I was, talking earlier in the show, and it needs to be something that I start to do because, and I think we all should do, and actually I heard someone else mention earlier today as well, is that we need to ask ourselves how we want to feel after we accomplish this goal. What expectations do we have while and after achieving this goal? So while we're working on it, while we're working towards that finish line, what do we want to feel, right? And are these expectations realistic? Is it realistic for us to feel happy every single training day that we are trying to, be marathon ready? No, it's not. And I tell you that from someone that's ran several half marathons. It's not always going to be a fun day. It's not. Especially if you have to run your long run and it's raining or it's hot or whatever where you live, it's not going to be fun. You'll feel maybe happy at the end because you did it, but it's not always going to be fun. It's just not always going to be fun. Is the expectation you have for how you want to feel realistic, right? Realistic. Do you have this expectation that while you're going after your goal that you're going to want to do it and that you're never going to want to give up? And that you're always going to feel like it is the best thing that you're doing. No. And then also ask yourself, do you have the time? Do you actually have the time, the energy, and the help that maybe you might need to get this done the way you want? and not just scrap it together, not just the lazy way or however you want to like characterize it. Do you have the time and energy and help to get it done the way you want so that you don't feel like it was a waste and you feel proud about it, whatever it is? And I know a lot of times people are like, oh, well, if you don't have the time, you make the time. But if you like realistically can't make the time because maybe you work multiple jobs and you have kids and you have a spouse and you have to have some downtime for yourself and you have chores at home and other responsibilities and volunteers and this, that, and the other. Like if you don't have time, you don't have time. And if you can't cut any of that stuff out right now, then maybe this isn't the time, the season for you to be going after this thing. That's hard, that's tough, it's heartbreaking sometimes to admit to ourselves. But it's true. It's true. We have to know that it's true. And, you may be excited right now to go after your goals, which is great. You should be, right? But how do you want to feel at the end? You're really excited to run 26.2 miles somewhere in the town that you live in or Disneyland, Disney World. Awesome. Oh, it's a dream for me. And you're really excited about it right now. But how do you want to feel at the end? Do you want to feel still excited? Do you think that's the realistic possibility? Or do you think you'll feel like run down, tired? Do you think that having to arrange everything in such a particular way where you're missing out on other things, is it worth it? Is it worth it to miss out on those things? Is it worth it to, continue to be overwhelmed for this specific amount of time to accomplish this goal? Figure out how you can feel that way or make changes that align more with your reality. So if at the end of it you want to feel so happy and fulfilled, then you have to figure out how can you feel fulfilled at the end. And you're probably like, well, Sabrina, if I accomplish the goal, I'll feel fulfilled. But will you? Will you? I want you to sit and pretend, or as my therapist likes to call it, thinking as if, or acting. No, he calls it acting as if you've accomplished this goal. Let's say hey, you're about to cross the finish line of your marathon and if this is your first time, then maybe at a time that's decent. Or if this is not your first time, it's a time that is better than the last time maybe, right? And for you to feel so proud of yourself and accomplished, what time do you need to finish at? What time, right? And if you don't finish at that time, will you not feel the way that you want to feel? Think about that. Or if your goal is to start a business, and how do you want to feel after you launch the business, get your first client, sell your first product, whatever, provide your first service? How do you want to feel? Do you want to feel, if you want to feel fulfilled, how are you going to feel fulfilled? Right? How are you going to feel fulfilled? Are you going to feel fulfilled if you only sell one product or one service or sign one client? Or do you need to sign 5? Or do you need to, for me, when I launched the Planner Journal Hybrid, Emotions Every Day, I asked myself this question. I'm like, will I be happy if I just sold one? Will I be happy do I have to sell them all to feel happy and accomplished? And no, I don't. I still have a lot. But for me, it was I want to sell 5. And I did that. And I wanted to, and I knew I'd feel happy and accomplished if I did that. Right. And then I made that happen. And I pushed myself to figure out how I can feel that way. But if I had said that I wanted to I would only feel fulfilled if I sold them all, I definitely would have to take a step back and realign what would actually fit more with my reality, with the time I have to actually do marketing and how often I spend online talking about the things that I do, which is not enough to sell them all, and all of these things. So ask yourself how you want to feel after you accomplish this goal, and then figure out if that actually aligns with your current reality. Number 3, know your reasons for achieving the goal. Know your reasons for achieving the goal. Are you doing all this work to impress someone else? Really? Be honest with yourself? Are you trying to keep up with the Joneses? Are you trying to impress everyone at work, at church, in your community group, in your neighborhood, your friends, your family, you know? Or are you doing it for you? Are you starting the business because you know that you will excel at this, even if it's hard in the beginning? Are you going to train for the marathon because it would make you feel so accomplished and it's something that you've always wanted to do and experience and see if you enjoy because you like running right now and you want to see if you can run that long, right? So the premise is like, what's the origin story of your goal? Like, where did it begin? You know, was it your idea? Was it someone else's? And it doesn't matter if it's someone else's, if it still truly aligns with why you're doing it and it being beneficial to you. It's fine. It's fine if it's someone else's idea. But is it your idea or was it someone else's idea? Right? And how will accomplishing this goal benefit you afterwards? Like if you run a whole marathon, does it benefit you afterwards because it gives you the confidence that you can do it again? Does it benefit you afterwards because you did all this training and so now you're in better shape and now you're healthier and that will help with other things? Right? If you start the business, how will accomplishing starting that business benefit you afterwards? Well, if you do it well enough, you will make a profit at some point, probably not right away because, you got to like make up back all that money that you invested. But if it'll benefit you afterwards, you'll end up making money and getting your name out there and people like trusting you more because you've created a product, a service, an offering that people like and trust. That's great. It's great benefits. But it's going to be different for everyone and everything that you're doing. So, but really ask yourself, how will accomplishing this goal benefit you afterwards? Right? Because if it's a goal that's based around you trying to impress other people, like you're like, well, I want to win this contest because then I can show everyone that I'm this, that, and the other. I don't think that's really going to benefit you. It's not going to benefit you, right? Right? Like ask yourself, are you doing this just to be petty? Just to be petty, you know? And if you, like, be honest with yourself, be like, yeah, I am. And then really ask yourself, is this worth it? Is this actually beneficial? What am I really getting out of this? Knowing why you are doing something and reminding yourself of those reasons can help with motivation. Like when you're in the thick of it, you're able to be like, oh, I'm doing this because I will be able to work for myself or work from home and have revenue or make extra money on top of the other things that I do. And that will help me to do this, that, and the other, or pay for this, or whatever. So knowing why is so important and being able to remind yourself of that, especially when you want to give up. You're like, no, I need to keep going because of this. So know your reasons for achieving the goal. Number 4, remember 4 out of 5, okay? We're almost there, friends. Number 4, come up, and I'm not exhausted. I just, we're getting long. It's okay though. Come up with your goal, then break it down into the smallest steps possible. Come up with your goal, then break it down into the smallest steps possible. Because goals can feel overwhelming. It's like, oh, got to run a whole marathon, got to start a business, right? Got to do all these things, got to write a book. What's another like really great goal? You want to read the Bible in a whole year, right? You want to read 4 books a month, 5 books a month, right? Like it doesn't matter. Like the goals, like you don't need to compare them side by side for them to mean something, right? It's just like, what is the goal, right? You want to drink, I don't know, a gallon of water every single day. Okay, right? It's fine, but come up with that goal and then break it down as small as you can. So maybe like goals, again, can feel overwhelming. Maybe drinking a gallon of water doesn't feel overwhelming. Like maybe not at first, but over time and when other things start to get in the way, it can feel like it's just too much. And you might be thinking, a gallon of water every day, Sabrina? Like that sounds ludicrous. Does it? Does it? So in the beginning, you're all excited. You got your big jug. Like I have a 50-ounce water jug. It's amazing. She's purple. She's amazing. And I was very excited when I got it in the mail, and it was a very decent price because it was on Amazon, and I was very excited to drink all the water, right? But then, as time went on, it started to be not as exciting because it takes longer to wash a bigger water jug. It takes longer to fill a bigger water jug. And if for some reason you get caught up in something and then you realize that you've only drank a quarter of that thing and it's 9 p.m. and you're committed to drinking like one every single day, then it can feel very overwhelming and too much when you have to chug down the rest of that in a matter of like 3 hours and constantly peeing. Constantly. Constantly. But if you break down your goal into the smallest steps possible, it's a lot easier to stay committed, to evaluate progress and achieve the goal, right? And so even if each step seems so small and simple, it's still the best way because it's more manageable, and that's what it needs to be. For it to be long-lasting and for you to commit to it, it needs to be manageable. And if you need help from a friend, if you need to ask for help, it's much easier when it's like broken down into small steps because it's easy to assign to other people if you need to, and just be like, here, you do this little part. So back to our example of drinking like a gallon every day, if you want to break that into small steps, which you probably think you couldn't, you can. You can get one of those water bottles that has the time on them, so it has like a notch, and you have to drink down to that certain like line or notch on the water bottle by that time, and that could help you get all of that done by the day. If you don't like that, you want like something clean and nice and simple, then you can set an alarm on your phone. You can set an alarm on like your actual like clocks in the house. You can maybe send yourself emails every day. And then if you tend to get stuck at your desk like I do and forget to get up and find your water bottle or drink your water, then you can have like some sort of crazy reminder system where you drink water, right? Maybe you have a smartwatch. It can remind you too. And you find a way for you to drink a certain amount so you're able to get through all the water in the whole day. Maybe you're like, oh, I don't like the taste of water, but I know it's good for me. Find a way to flavor it without adding a bunch of like sugar or whatever. You got to find a way, okay? So coming up with a goal and then breaking it down, it's so much better, so much easier, and you can stay focused a lot better because you're not like, overwhelmed and it just seems like everything is shiny and you don't know what to do, and you have like created this step by step and you're just like continuing to move forward, especially when everything else in life is it's just like so terrible, overwhelming, troublesome. You've already broken this thing down so you can still continue to push forward because it's already in the smallest steps possible for you, that it's almost like there's no way that you could fail and not be able to achieve progress every single step. You know what I mean? So come up with a goal, then break it down into the smallest steps possible. Number 5, and the last one I have to share with you today, is don't be afraid to change your mind. Don't be afraid to change your mind. I had to put this one in there, and I was really trying to think, like, because obviously I want to give tips that are not necessarily your classic tips, like I was talking about earlier, where you can literally type in the internet, like, how to create smart goals, and I even have, again, episodes on it. If you go back and look into the podcast, like, archive. But I wanted to make sure that I give you tips that it would actually be a little bit different, that'll help you, again, refocus how you think about goals, intentions, and resolutions. And it might seem counterproductive for me to tell you that don't be afraid to change your mind and, abandon your goal, but it's okay to do that. Know that you can do that. You might feel like you're stuck with a goal because you like committed to it, and switching to something else feels like a failure. And again, maybe it is a failure, but it's good to fail. As I say all the time, mistakes and failures are our best learning lessons. So it's good to fail. It's good to make mistakes, and it's good to change our minds. It is. And I recently went through this year when in February I signed up to be in my business coaching program and to become a coach. And have a coaching program and all that stuff. And it took me 4 months to realize that that is not the goal that I want anymore. That's not the way that I want to go. That's not me. That's not who I am. And it was scary to really admit that to myself and be like, I need to change course. I need to change goals. But the moment that I did, it felt so good. It felt so right. It felt like, yeah, you did all this thing and you paid all this money, but it was just the right move to make. And, if something isn't working out, why would we force ourselves to keep doing it and be miserable? That's just silly. It's just pure silliness. You might feel like you've wasted a ton of time and money, so you can't possibly go another route. And you're like, nope, we live here now. This is where we're at. But instead of thinking about it as a loss, like, oh my gosh, all this time, money wasted, like, what am I going to do? Think about it as a gain of experience that really will somehow help you in the next thing. So for me, it was like letting go of like this, like, being a coach and charging people for money for like services online and that very that very way where like you hire a coach to like hold your hand through making whatever life changes, right? And I was like, that's just not me. I'm not here to hold people's hands. I'm here to provide knowledge and tools and resources and now products so when you're ready to make those changes in your emotional and mental health, then you can use those things. I'm here to provide it for you, but I'm not going to force you to do it. You have to make that choice because the truth is you can't force anyone to make any choices. They have to make it on their own, and that's why. And I just kept coming back to that because that is the truth that I live by, right? And that I teach all of you. And I'm more of a teacher, educator kind of thing. So, when I came to that realization, I was like, oh, yeah, you know what? It might have felt like a loss, but I did learn a lot and I did understand. And I feel like you have to understand and try to do the thing you want to do for you to find out that that's not the thing you want to do. Because if you don't try, then you'll never know. You'll never know. And, but yeah, think of it as a gain of experience that will help you in the next thing. And I know that learning all that coaching stuff and building out like a presentation and all that stuff and talking to people about services, it'll help in something. I think it just really helped me better understand, building a business and better understanding what I want to do when I share. And I think that was necessary for me to go through that time period to really come to where I am now, which is, just educating people on emotional and mental health, the thing that I love to do the absolute most. We aren't always going to know what will work before we start, and that's completely fine. It's completely fine. A lot of times it's impossible to know if something will work or not until we do it. So we have to do it and then see. And it's a very fun experience, I think. Maybe more in hindsight that it's fun, but it still can be enjoyable in the moment if you allow yourself to enjoy it. So, but that's it, you guys. That's all 5 tips. So yeah, don't be afraid to change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. It's healthy. Don't force yourself to be miserable just for the sake of time and money and feel like you're going to lose face and people are going to judge you. Who cares? Okay? Who cares? Especially if they're all wrapped up in their insecurities that they need to take the time to judge you because maybe they didn't change their mind when they got wrapped up in something and now they're bitter about it. Who cares? Okay? But thank you so much. Hopefully this is helpful in creating your goals. And don't forget, in the next episode, I'll talk to you about how to, actually accomplish those goals and plan for your year and try to plan it the best way you can for you to have the better year than you had before. Not that the year that is almost done here is bad. It's just that it's always good to want to level up just a little bit, right? Well, thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast again with me, Sabrina. Check the show notes below. Make sure you come say hi to me on social media and check out all the links down there for, signing up for the weekly newsletter and maybe purchasing a copy of Everyday Emotions. And Oh yeah, anonymously submitting topic suggestions. And maybe you need to vent. You need to get something off your chest anonymously. You can do that down there too and other stuff. But until next time, have a good one. And I will see y'all next time. Bye, you guys. And Happy New Year to you.